Honestly, the real Goblin Slayer just showed up because this man parried a goblin, Emperor Goblin that is, to the point that he's him. If Goblin Slayer saw what this man was able to pull off, he would have said, "Master, teach me, please. I need to learn your ways." I've been saying for the past couple of episodes, though, that this is a show that does something that doesn't really work this well. Because almost always, even if you enjoy the dumb character who doesn't know he's strong trope, the character's still dumb. Like, you have to accept that fact. The thing is this boy's not actually dumb. He's a little ignorant, for sure. A little uneducated, for sure. Makes sense, though, given his upbringing and everything. But the idea that they show it from both sides. So when we approach this forest, and we see the big boy large and in charge, that ain't no goblin. I'm thinking, oh man, what are we dealing with? Hobgoblin, King of Goblins, what are we doing? Emperor Goblin is what it turns out to be. And all she says, Lynn says, is goblin. And then he's like, oh shit. For what he's saying up to that point, from what he understands, goblins are, little mischievous bastards, but they're the weaker creatures. And then he sees this thing. Now, you might want to say, how could anyone be so stupid to think that giant Goliath was just a typical goblin? Take yourself away from an anime video game mindset. Imagine you were born into a world and all you know about monsters is what you've heard about or read. We don't have YouTube videos to pull up of what a goblin's going to look like. And then here's this very strong person next to you, and she says goblin. Actually makes a lot of sense why that to him, he's like, oh shit, I really underestimated what a goblin is. Okay, so after everything's all said and done, even though yes, he did some great things, the fact that he's literally thinks, I'm not ready to go back for goblin slaying makes a lot of sense. And then when you hear it from her side, she just didn't finish her sentence. She was so petrified to say emperor. The fact that this show can actually have misunderstandings remain consistent with him thinking he's just doing things that are either basic, because for all purposes here, this was supposed to be a goblin slaying event. And she thinks he purposely went here to just show this bitch who's boss. It's brilliant. Of course, I have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thought to any of these episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, I Parry Everything is definitely one of my personal favorites of this season. It's really clicked with me. It's funny. It's so different. And while we definitely have two shows this season doing that kind of overpowered hero mindset, this one is doing the, not understanding they're strong, I think, the best out of the two I'm watching. They're both doing it in different ways, mind you, but I just love how I Parry Everything just really gets across Nora as a character to feel like you want to root for him. He's a genuinely good dude. And every step of the way, I don't think I've seen anything that makes me say I don't understand why he doesn't realize he's strong. The only thing people might want to bring up is the Minotaur thing, but I have to say he thought it was a cow. And at the end of the day, why all those guards got beat and he was able to do something, probably he's going to chalk it up to luck. But at the end of the day, right, this is a man who went from all these different schools and tried to learn, and he just is considered a failure and a fraud. He's not good enough. He does basic leg enhancements or basic healing spells. He's fighting cows and basic goblins from his point of view. Yeah, it's understandable. And this is a girl who thinks she's looking at the embodiment of Jesus Christ himself. So when he says, all we did was fight a goblin, she says, if that's what you think a goblin is, absolutely, sir, my mouth is open and ready. That's basically her in a nutshell. The fact that she's so enthralled by this man that she thinks she has to learn from him, and technically she's right, the man's insanely strong. But the idea that she's just like, you know what? If this Goblin Emperor, which is what it is so weak and pathetic to my boy Nor that he's just going to label it as a goblin, absolutely, that's a goblin. It's hilarious. And the fact that when they go to turn in the mission, the request, so they're supposed to bring back the year. Obviously that didn't work out because of, well, they burned that thing to a crisp. The idea that, the guild master's just kind of laugh and be like, you probably were hiding the whole time. He's like, actually, yeah, I didn't really do a whole lot. It's all her. And she's like, what are you talking about? You're the one who did everything. All I did was the final attack after you ripped that thing out of its head. And I love how there's this brief moment where the dude's almost realizing what he's talking about, because okay, usually those crystals are inside them. Maybe this was a weird freak accident that was on the outside. But if he actually brought it back, you know, I have to begin to imagine he would have ranked up quite a bit. Because the whole time, like, building into that mission, like, so he's able to take up a request that he normally wouldn't do by himself because he's with someone who's such a high rank. Now, her rank does get bumped down to, I think they said B or something because of him with her. So I was wondering the whole time, I was like, man, like, most likely if he would have got credit for that Emperor, he would have probably bumped up a couple of ranks, or at least a rank minimum. Because imagine playing a video game at the start, and you defeat a creature that's supposed to be fought 30 hours from now. Your experience is going to get you up to probably like level 18 from level 1. So it has to be probably a similar thing with the guild settings, but obviously I can't say for sure. But it was just such a good episode, and the best part was how well produced it was as well. This was definitely the best produced fight that we've seen in this show so far. The forest, the misty forest, was a really cool look for it, and the fact that it all was hand-drawn. And it's not even that, it's not even just like it was a stiff, like, just, oh, here's, you know, anime has this tendency to have backgrounds move, but not actually really move anything in the foreground. No, like, everything was moving, it was smooth, this thing was whipping tree logs at us. It was such a fun freaking fight. Like, it just had such an emphasis on the fun, it was thought out. We basically turn our boy into a human Beyblade. We let it rip so we could smash that crystal away. Just a really cool freaking fight overall. And, I mean, at this point, this show has sold me 100%. I like that we're finally getting a taste a bit more on the adventuring side. We now have a more of an excuse to do that because, well, obviously we have someone who can take up better requests and we now kind of formed a party with her, but still great stuff. And I like that we do get the confirmation that the sword that he got, basically the most legendary shit possible. You know a sword's legendary when it's not even in, like, you know, Excalibur, Sword in the Stone, legendary, sure. But if your sword's floating in the middle of a goddamn room, that's as legendary as it gets. And apparently you can't break it. So how the hell was it forged? I don't know. But our boy's clearing out ditches and shit like it's a shovel. So, good job, Nor. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode, though, down below, because this is definitely one of the best fights I've seen so far this season. And I honestly think for a little bit this will probably be the bar, the peak to try to surpass for the show, because it was fun, it was funny, but most importantly, it remains to show you why misunderstandings can continue. But I think the biggest thing is that it reminds us that the titles of these episodes are freaking hilarious. He parries God. Like, every time it's I parry something, and I love it. I love when anime have fun with their titles, man. That's all I'm saying. Thoughts down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Demon69C, Cody Fox, Wade Smith, Versuva Granada, Gabby G, and we also have Attack Owl. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.